Well, howdy guys and gals. Man, the outpouring of emails and texts that I've been getting talking about my birth father and discovering who he was. And I know that there are quite a few people out that A, have been in the military, and B, have a parent that was in the military. You know, through research for the book that I wrote, I came to discover who my birth father was. And I only had very limited information to go on. And through this book, Dachau, 29 April 1945, the Rainbow Liberation Memoirs, I learned that my father commanded the soldiers that were on their way to Munich, and they came across Dachau. Now, my mother told me that my father was a drunk and a womanizer. And after reading this book and doing some more research and having conversations with half siblings that I have now discovered, I have no doubt, and I don't think they called it PTSD at the time. We treat our military family miserably. So in this book, what I discovered is my father is a war hero. My father fought under Patton in Africa. He was also one of the high-ranking officers that worked directly with Eisenhower. He's got several medals, was well decorated, but gave his men all the credit for everything that happened. One of the stories, and there's a picture in this book, as they came into Dachau, there were the train cars that were just filled with dead bodies. And as they passed by one train car, he saw a hand sticking up in the midst of these bodies. And my father climbed into that train car and pushed dead bodies away and dug the only living soul that there was and pulled this man out of that horror and physically carried him to the Red Cross tent. On the way, with all the confusion that was going on because they were still engaged with the SS in the camp, they got hit by a Jeep, and my father woke up in the medical tent laying next to this man that he had rescued. My father lived, obviously. This man lived because my father pulled him out. And years later, they reconnected. I just wish that I could have been there. This is who my father was. And so it set me out to try to discover a little bit more. I don't know if I buy into the DNA thing, that you're like your parents or whatever. The path that I led and lived, drinking, drugs. I was married a number of times, and you can read about that in the book that I wrote. But my father was married 8 times. He had a number of children. He drank. And I can't even imagine having seen the horrors that he saw in war or that any of those soldiers saw. It's just hard for me to even fathom. But now I know that there's more to my father than the fact that what my mother said, that he was a drunk and a womanizer. There's way more to this man, a very complicated man. And I had the real privilege and benefit of meeting with one of my half-brothers who I just discovered to find out way more about that man. And I will share that with you. Donnie's going to do a red chair chat with me when he comes back to Nashville, and I look forward to that. But this was an emotional part of the research that I did in putting together the information for my book. And thanks for letting me share that. Thanks for being here, and God bless you, and I'll see you next visit.